Good morning, traders, and welcome to the All Markets live order flow bookmap webinar. We'll take a look at the live order flow as it is unfolding in the markets, and read the order flow and give some insight to where we think price is going to go next. This is we can do that in these webinars because order flow gives you that insight. All right, so let's go through the general disclosure. All Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. The risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning, Alois. All right. Good morning, everybody on YouTube and on Discord. All right, let's take a look at this here, and looking at the S&P E-mini fits right into one of the patterns that we are covering in our strategies and setups. Good morning, Rob. So Rob, this is for you. What does that look like? Looks like a pretty strong like a bullish bull flag pattern. Yep, exactly. And it fits perfectly. Now, there's a lot of reasons why this flag pattern unfolded. It's simply because of the FOMC. You can see in this little area in here before the event how a lot of liquidity is pulled. And then we see that the number was actually bad, which means good for the market right now, because it means that the oh, I'm sorry, this is did I say FOMC? Non-farm? The FOMC was on Wednesday, which also was a hold on interest rates. That is good for the market. So anyway, two bullish big events beginning of the month here, which will probably set the tone for, several days or maybe the rest of the month. So this is really important to go over. And we're talking about bigger picture here instead of like order flow. Well, there actually is bigger picture order flow in here as well. And here it is. Good morning, Slowdown. So you see the bullish move here immediately at 8:30, and then some sideways action in here. I mean, this fits that flag pattern really, really nicely. So what I'm talking about, guys, is let me show you in here from our Bookmap Learning Center. If you are interested in this content, here it is. Go to bookmap.com. Here, let me show you. Here. Probably be the easiest. First, go to bookmap.com, click on the More button, and then go to the Learning Center here. Here's the Strategies and Setups course. Click on that, open it up. This video here is not really very important. It just talks about continuation patterns and momentum strategies in general. Very short, it just sets the tone. Here is seeing the flag pattern in a diagram. Here it is seeing it in Bookmap. And here it is on how to execute. This is actually the most important one. And we have a checklist here on what to look for in your flag pattern. And I hate to call it a flag pattern, like I always mention this. Doesn't matter what kind of name it has. What we want to identify are these elements in the checklist. There's a lot more in here. I think it's like 7 or 8. But they are very clearly in here as well. It's a really good example. The kicker here was the non-farm data release. And then look at this in here. In fact, God, there's so many good things in here. Looking for this strong impulse move here. That's the number one thing. And then we get a pullback here. It is on lower volume. They are bidding up underneath here. As you can see, they get filled in here. At this point, we have a lot of things on our side in here. We have a strong impulse move. We have a pullback. We have high liquidity on the bid at a higher level here. That does transact. and then we see the buyers roll in here. This is your entry point or consideration for your entry point. Stop below the swing, and then the first you can look at some measured moves in here, or you start to look at high liquidity on where this might go next. Okay, there's high liquidity here and here. Right now, the management can be kind of tricky, but because some people like to take the maybe a first leg off up here because you are looking for that test. But basically, to be honest, if this is a strong impulse move, okay, we're looking for another strong impulse move immediately after, and that can be seen here. Okay, so it takes some patience, but this is the setup, right? And look at the speed of this move too. Like this one is clearly much faster. All right, so this is a duplicate of that line basically, and look where price went. Okay, and now we hit high liquidity here and here. These are your targets, and now you're starting to see sellers come in. This move has completed. All right, so thanks, Rob. Put an image in there. Exactly. Let me show what Rob had put in. This is looks like a screenshot from the flag pattern in that strategies setup and setups playlist in our learning center. This is really important. There's two things. Actually, we don't have much of a consolidation period in this case, Rob. What we have instead, and these are where the subtleties make all the difference. In this flag pattern here, we're looking for trap traders within this area, and then we're looking for a strong move away from this area here and stop people out along the way, get them, you know, to compelled to trade and cover their longs, or I mean their shorts in here. That is your short squeeze. You're also looking for new traders to enter and pull that market up. Then you're looking for your pullback, okay, on low volume, and you're looking for that continuation move. All right, another impulse move that is equal. All right, so these are the things to look for in the setup. Now this one's a little different. It's a variation on it due to the news. Okay, so it doesn't really matter about the consolidation area as much now. What matters is what's moving this market is news. All right, and then we can start to look for maybe some trap traders, and you do see some in here, right? So on this pullback in here, okay, like anyone who's sold down below here, well, it's actually a stop run, and then look at the buyers start to come in here, but it's not quite above it yet. You can look for them maybe a little bit higher in here is where I would be looking for them, and then to try to take it back up to maybe the top of the range, and then continuation. In fact, there's another flag pattern in here. Okay, it's patterns within patterns, but the bigger pattern is really clear and really here, omnipresent, right here in front of us here. Strong move, pullback, strong move, target, high liquidity up here. Seeing sellers come in, you're exiting. All right, this is how it looks in the order flow, and this is how Bookmap can help you. We can clearly see strong buying all the way through, all the way up to the very top here. We have a pullback, and then if you got in on this one here, well, you were sitting pretty. This is a lot of chop back and forth in here, and that typically happens after really strong moves. That can happen, but look at it. It accepted higher. Look at the bid in here. It's super strong at 43.50 here. Okay, and they're even adding more in here, as you can see in the heat map. So this is a really great area in here to look for your entry and look for holding that until your target is reached. Okay, and that would be high liquidity up in here, or as we say, like in the mentioned in the video and the learning center, that you're looking at I probably would have gotten out here. You're looking at where high liquidity hits and where sellers start to come in, and you do get that here. Now it continued higher into this liquidity, and then we see really strong selling now. Okay, so now this pattern is completed. We're looking for something else, right? But identifying these strong moves is really important. Okay, we can also identify another. We can just kind of look at, and disregard this whole flag pattern and look at what's happening now. We have a strong move here, all the way up. Okay, high liquidity all the way up. We had data at 10 a.m. And then now we're getting a pullback here. But is it a pullback? Or is this is something a little different? In my mind, this is something different. Look at the volume on here. Okay, look at the size of these red dots compared to the size of these green dots. So this is not a low volume pullback. This is something, this is just a strong move on sell side coming into the market now. Right, so that's a distinction to note, and what we want to understand then is the context down in here. They are buying. They're on the bid at these higher levels below this swing here. Look at the bid in here. Look at the heat map. This is great. All right, so I'm actually looking for some back and forth in here, and if maybe sellers can chew through this, or maybe they pull this liquidity in here. But right now, they are staying in the book, and it is accepting higher. So what are we looking for in this move now? Okay, well, maybe sellers come in and chew through all of this, and they come all the way back down to where these buyers came in. We'll see. I'm actually looking for a little bit of back and forth in here, okay, because this is not a low volume pullback in here. Right, so maybe we come a little bit lower, but then some probably find some buyers, and we've turned from a kind of trend into a sideways area in here. Let's see, Alois, you're saying, but I would say a flag is not really at the floor. For a real flag, you need to run up before. Yeah. Well, you mean like the consolidation period? Is that right? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, we mentioned that in the video. Yeah, kind of a much overlooked area here is that consolidation period as well. All right. Morning, Deborah. Deborah, do you have any questions on this? Do you see that? Did you see it this morning? Okay, this flag pattern in here, identifying like this in here is really key. Okay, and then identifying when it starts, when those buyers start to come in again. Okay, and well, you can clearly see it way up here. This is pretty far away though. At that point, you can see it in here, and then you can you can kind of see it a little bit in here, but it really wasn't too good in here, to be honest. But this is a great area, clearly a great area to get involved in here. Okay, you see the move into this liquidity here, and then this isn't very convincing in here though, to be honest. Okay, well, don't trade it then if you're not confident enough to trade it. Just this is something I actually want to take a note here and cover something that Rob had posted in the All Markets room here on Discord. You know, Rob had reached out and he said, well, I'm seeing flags within flags. I don't know which one is which. I'm confused. I'm not confident. So that's why I'm bringing this up, Deborah. And then let's just open this up in here. So I said to Rob, well, why don't you just keep it simple and identify the strong impulse moves? And he did. And look at how much better your content is, Rob. This is awesome. Really happy to see this. Again, noting the strong impulse moves. And you can see like this is a low volume pullback in here. Okay? So you're going to start to note these elements here, the same elements in the flag pattern. That's when you can start to look for the strong buyers to come in again that initiate that second impulse move, and then that's your cue, okay, to look for entry and then to manage that trade, right? Because we already know that the buyers are in control. We're just getting a pullback move, and then we're looking for the continuation move, right? So anyway, you can see it in Robin here. There's a few as well. Like here's another strong move, a pullback, and another kind of strong move, right? So you got some other things in here as well, but this is a really big step, and I was really happy to see this, Rob. So good stuff. Thank you. So yeah, let's start with some of these very simple things. I think. Deborah, and notice it, and then you'll get confident when you've seen it many times, and then you'll start to understand. And it's not. Don't worry about trying to understand the flag pattern. Okay, that's not the goal. The goal is to identify the orders, the order flow, the transactions. That's where the key lies, because if you can start to understand what you're starting to understand is momentum, who's in control, and when momentum begins again, that's what's going to make you money. All right, so just start with identifying these elements on the chart. The plan will come, the trading strategy and your exact setup will come. But you can start to look for some of these elements in here. Now this one in here, is this turning into the flag pattern? Like it's really key to understand this here. And why do you think, or why don't you think this is in here right now? I kind of mentioned it a little earlier, right? Now we have them bidding up in here. This is really good. That's bullish. Okay, we have a strong move here. That's clear. Okay, we also have some data in here. So, none of these things are going to be really like crystal clear typically. We had data in here, economic release. So that was was it consumer sentiment in Michigan? No, ISM, the services PMI, right? So it's a big one right here at 10 a.m. See the spike up, and now we see the move back down into high liquidity. So it's always going to be convoluted, always, or typically it's going to be a rare occasion when it's not. However, identify some of these key elements, right? Now, why this isn't the flag pattern that we're looking for, as we mentioned earlier, this is not a low volume pullback. So we're looking for some back and forth here now. Okay, I'm not looking for more buyers to come in and lift this at this time. Okay, it may happen, but due to this in here, it is less likely to happen. Right, that we're going to get that strong move, pull back, strong move. Right, so that's a low volume pullback. That's why and how we can filter these and then look for something that is a higher probability. The wheeled trader, you cannot hear me well in here. That's odd. Not sure. Yeah, so you got the YouTube there. Thank you. Slow down. Hey Stan, you came in late. No problem. Anyway, we have just filtered out this trade now too, or this potential setup in here. All right. Okay, you're watching on YouTube now. All right, that's odd. I don't know why you're maybe you might have had your mic open for two different sources. Wheeled trader. I've had that happen. Okay, so I have the only my room is the only audio where you have audio issues. Okay, I don't know, maybe it's just bad luck. Um, anyway, so starting to understand the details in here in the order flow, and mark these things up in here. Okay, start really simply by looking at specific things. Okay, identifying the strong move in here. That's just step one. So Rob, for example, look at a few different things in here on step one. Is that volume consistent all the way through the move? Is it is the slope of this move strong as well? That means that there's so much volume trading very, very quickly. That's going to be the slope. And that's very telling as well. All right, so we're getting a lot of different elements in here, just in this strong move. I would suggest continuing your focus just on the strong move. Okay, just in the elements within the strong move. If you can master some of the impulse moves in here, there's so many different setups that can come out of this. It's not just a flag pattern at all. It's understanding what's really behind it all in here, and that has to deal with the order flow and the transactions. Right? It's moving away from this area down in here due to, in this case, because of the news. Right? But and you'll notice it happen again and again and again. Now, I want to get into, we've been kind of integrating Market Pulse into some of these moves in here. And I'll get to that in just a minute. And we can give you actually free access to this Market Pulse tool, and I'll cover that as well in just a minute. I want to go over, though, a higher time frame setup in here. Because in my opinion, the last few days have been very, very easy trading. And it's due to the news. Okay, we really have some alignment in the news in here. So let's take a look at the bigger picture. All right, and we can talk about the daily over here on this chart. All right, so well, first off, on the daily chart here, you can see that we kind of bottomed out and down here, and we see the buyers start to come in and move this market higher. I was just looking for a retest back up into the swing up in here. All right, yesterday, here's our extended candle. Not very, very nice move. Okay, so this was, FOMC was here. All right, this is Wednesday. Also, pretty good candle, pretty extended candle here. Not bad. Look at the size of this candle compared to the rest of them in here. Okay, it's pretty good. It's kind of average, I would say. There's some small days in here. These are maybe more extended, but it's getting kind of close to some of these extended moves in here in terms of a candle size. And yesterday we had our extended move. Right, so here's what happened. Maybe we'll have to go to the hourly on this, but this is where it can be really helpful. Right, so this was in here, so November 1st. Oh God, I have a hard time reading these charts. I believe this is the day. Yeah, so yeah, here was I believe our non-farm, our FOMC, I'm sorry, was here, I believe. Yeah, I'm not sure. But anyway, obviously, if you guys were, trading, it was pretty strong move to the upside. Then the market closed. Okay, it came up into this area up in here, and the market closed. Now, the news was really good for the market. Okay, this is a fundamental event. It's probably the most important one, and the market has been hypersensitive to interest rates, and we see from the day action that there is a lot of volume coming in and moving that market higher, and the market closed up higher as well. we're looking for an extension of that move. Okay, overnight, and then the next day as well, maybe even more. You know, that can be a market you know, moving event. So it's something to look into, it's something to consider if you want to hold for a longer trade, a longer time frame trade on something like this. These can be really, really profitable trades, right? So it's something to consider, something to study, something to look into. But if we have a bullish day and we're looking for the continuation of that bullish day in the overnight session or the extended trading hours, then you know, just look for getting in and then holding it. And a lot of times in the overnight sessions, it just grinds higher all night long. Okay? And it's not it's a slow grind basically. And if you try to short that, you'll just get really hurt. So be really aware of that. But these kinds of moves in here, I think they're pretty simple, direct moves. And then what we want to look at now, and we have again another pretty simple a direct move in here with the market responding to the non-farm today. Okay, so now what we want to look at in here is start to consider on your daily chart in here, ATR, okay, or ADR, okay, average daily ranges of these candles. Because if this is such a bullish move in here, where is this going to stop? Where is like it going to run out of steam? Look at your other candles in here, your ranges, to gain some sort of insight at least. Okay, it doesn't always work, but it will give you some sort of insight in here to where price might end up. Okay? And then it's down to reading the order flow. So we have at least a range or a guide in kind of on the roadmap, right? So in these extended moves, now look at what's happening in here on the daily in here. Okay, this was a pretty strong move to the downside. Here's our pullback followed by another strong move. Here's our consolidation period. This is a huge flag right in here. Okay, here's your consolidation, here's your breakaway, here's your pullback, and there's your continuation. All right, now in here, there's not a lot of price action. The market can climb through those areas more easily, okay, than these consolidation areas. So this is pretty simple thing to look at, that we may end up someplace around here, and we're looking for the ADR of this candle to be up at the upper range of that range, or extended of that range. Looking for it today as well. Okay, now look what's happening in here. We're starting to get into that consolidation period up here. Right, we're starting to see a little bit of back and forth. We see the wick here. We're starting to see some sellers come in. Right now, funny enough, that happened right after the event, the news event. Okay, sellers really didn't come in here until after the news event here at 10 a.m. All right, so that's what the market thinks of it, and you can see that yeah, we traded into this area here. This is our buyers in here. We're looking for back and forth in here now. Okay, and it started up in here. It filled high liquidity along the way, but you can see it really, the selling coming in here. And we know now that this is different selling compared to this stronger move in here. This is pretty strong selling. So it's not surprising to see them drop it one more time, and a lot of sellers here as well. All right, so we filtered out ourselves away from like trying to grab another flag pattern in here. In fact, it kind of did the opposite, like consolidation down. It's strong volume, but this is really slowed it down in here. We get this is a low volume pullback, and then we see a strong continuation here. It's not very clean and clear at all. It's like a move down, some back and forth, a move up, some back and forth, and then the next move down. So anyway, same concepts though, right? So sellers in control on this time frame, and we were looking for either the move to bounce here, which it did, and I'm kind of surprised to see it already come back down here and test the 63 area where these buyers came in. That's exactly what it's done. Okay, so and again, look at this strong move, low volume pullback. Let's see if we can get our sellers in here, and let's see if they can drop it right back down to here or here. So that would be 62.5 to 62. Right, I don't see them yet, and we have some liquidity here, which is a good thing. That's part of the setup. I don't really see the sellers coming in here yet, right? So that would have kind of kept you away from it as well. Anyway, I wanted to cover that. I wanted to cover that higher time frame, and then give you guys some ideas here for much higher time frame trades. And look into these things, because we know that this is the same idea with momentum. We know the news is good and the market is reacting to it. We're looking for the ATR to be reached or even maxed out here on some of these moves, and that's precisely what happened. Okay, so on days like that, you don't have to get all chopped up. God, I wish I had more data in here. I'd just show you. All you do is you just get in and you hold. Okay? And maybe you get out at the end of the day, or maybe you don't. Maybe you're still looking to hold it overnight, and just let it roll. Okay, now you got to watch your margin if you have day trading margin and your positioning, because now you're going to have overnight margin. You have to make sure that you don't get a margin call. All of that good stuff. Anyway, that's kind of trading 101. Let's all right, let's continue on here, and let me see if there's any questions. We'll jump into Market Pulse. Deborah, any questions? And I hope that this is helping clarify things for you, identifying these elements. Deborah, I highly suggest that you join that academy. I don't think you have, and start to mark up your charts. It's an excuse to mark up your charts, and you might you'll see your progression, just like what we covered with Rob. You have not. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to force you. I'm just saying, like, it might be a good idea, and to check it out. Okay. By the way, we're going to have a meeting next week for that Bookmap Academy. And in fact, let me show you the page again. It's right here. I'll put the link into the chat for you. And you can read through it here, but you'll apply for the Bookmap Junior Academy. If you're accepted, you'll get into the Bookmap Junior Academy. You're starting to generate some content. Mark up your charts, identify the elements on the chart, and then you will get more clarity. You'll start to focus on creating more specific content that interests you, and then you'll get to a point where you can start to look at very specific things and setups. Then you're just honing that process, and now you have something really good. All right, so if you do that and you meet the thresholds in here, quantitative and qualitative, in the Bookmap Junior Academy, you will be bumped up to the Bookmap Academy, and you can get Bookmap for free in here. If you double your quota, you can get the MBO bundle as well for free. Okay, now you can see that you get access to pre-released new products and add-ons. Okay, even in the Junior Academy, you get this. Okay, so apply, and I will give you access to, for example, this Market Pulse tool. Okay, so you'll need to apply if you want to get that access. Right? Yep. Thanks, Dan. You put the link in there. Yeah, Bookmap through Thinkorswim. Yeah, just do it, Deborah. Start marking them up, and just get going. It really is the best thing. All right. So yeah, let's cover this here. Wanted to get into the market pulse stuff. So that's where you sign up for the Academy. It's you scroll down the page a little bit here. Okay, and this is where you apply. Now, once you apply in here, you'll get an email, and it requests you go into our Discord room and ask for a spreadsheet. Okay, we want to capture your email and then your Discord ID so that we can communicate with you in either or. Okay, most of the communication is going to happen over in Discord anyway. Yeah, so ask for your spreadsheet and we'll send it to you. And then you can start to go through it. And then, yeah, let me show you here. So we will have a meeting on, yeah, hold on just a minute. I'll show you. Okay, on our calendar, it's from the Learning Center. If you go to Bookmap Learning Center and you go to the calendar, you scroll down a little bit here. I set up a meeting for our next, it's next Thursday. Okay, so hold on. Yeah, here we go. The trade review right here. Okay, so we'll have the Bookmap Academy mentoring and coaching session. We've had 2 so far. We will go and review your trades in the live webinar. It'll be at market close on Thursday, next Thursday. All right. So yeah, that's something I wanted to mention and cover. All right. So let's see. The other questions in here. Yeah, we're gonna do it every 2 weeks, and we're gonna try to do it weekly actually. So that's the plan, Rob, and you know, give as much feedback as we can here. Right, we've got some great coaches, we got some great traders, and you know, we want to create some good stuff here. Crash F16, you've been making some great content as well. I need to reach out to you and comment on your feedback or your content in here. It's really good, really good. I can see that you've been using your the market pulse tremendously. This is great because actually that meeting is going to be focused on content of market pulse on Thursday's meeting. So guys, create content using market pulse because that's what we're going to go over. And you know, a lot of the imagery in here that Crash F16 has been making is just excellent. Is here market pulse, volume pressure imbalance, and then he's looking at some correlated markets in here. Awesome. It's really good stuff. Right. So anyway, I see that Slowdown is also using it. He's created some content in here, and I actually wanted to go through that. Something in here I wanted to mention here. Okay, so here's one from Slowdown, right? Which is this is excellent. Okay, he's looking at market pulse here. He's got 3 different market pulses up, and he's got price change, and not sure what this one is. And you're getting an extreme reading in here, and then looking for it here. And you said that this trade didn't work out for you. I'm shocked. This one looks so good. It's got so many things in here. You've got, you know, lots of buyers, even, you know, still on this leg in here, lots of buyers. right? This is a beautiful trap in here into high liquidity off of the VWAP, below these two swings in here, looking for these buyers to come in and immediately lift it up into these areas here. I would imagine that they would be coming in hand over fist here. But you said that your stop was here down below, and then was hit. I believe. You tell me if I'm wrong there. I'm shocked. Anyway, I'm so glad you put this in here for two reasons. Number one, you're showing that this is your setup. You took it. It looks really good. Okay, even this move up here made an equal high. This is all looking good. It's this. I would imagine this would have worked, and you said it didn't. They don't all work. You'll learn. What did someone tell me? They said like there's two things that happen. Either your trade works out and you have a profit, or you learn. Okay, so losing is a part of this. How you handle those losers is a real big part of this. Okay, and learning from your mistakes as well, or your losers. In this case, what do you learn from here? I don't know. I mean, like just that it doesn't always work out. This looks really good in here. Anyway, I was really surprised. One of the other thing I wanted to mention in here on this slowdown, I mentioned it to you earlier in the email, that you're introducing new things, and I just think this is important enough to mention to everybody. This is part of the Bookmap coaching and mentoring in that academy. The slowdown has a really his process has been amazing through the academy and the markup of his charts. It's some of the best stuff that, I mean, better markups than mine for sure. And it's so clean and clear. These are some of the best charts I've ever seen. And I have a design background. I'm not a graphic designer though, but industrial designer. But anyway, this is really, really good stuff. So what I want to mention is he's introducing something new in here. Okay, I said, look, we can look at this new tool here in Market Pulse, and we're getting some really good readings in here at extremes, and that's another confluence to add in here. What is important to mention is if you're going to add in new confluences into your setup, I would track it as a different setup. Right, so you can say your Wyckoff spring setup is what you've been looking at for, like, I don't know, several months now, slowdown. But then look at, maybe it's, Wyckoff spring with Market Pulse, or, version 2 or whatever, and track it separately. Okay, because you don't want to start getting confused with your setups. It's a real pitfall. So keep them separate as separate studies, and then see how they're working for you. And if you don't like it, you can abandon one of them and go with the other. All right. So I had another trader tell me about this, and I think the description was really good. He said that treat these as different experiments in petri dishes. Okay, so this would be one experiment in a petri dish. See how it's doing. It's separate. It's on the side, away from your other Wyckoff spring. All right, so that will be a lot less confusing for you. Okay, because once you start to add on anything into your setup, you are now doing something different, and you don't want to do that. You want to keep it the same and track it. Keep it simple and track it. All right. So anyway, it was something I thought it was important to mention, and I wanted to mention it here. All right. Okay, so that was the Market Pulse Mag 7 VPI. Okay, great. Yeah, thanks, Slowdown. Yeah, Crash F16. You got another one already here. Amazing. Okay, well, I'm going to open it up and we're going to start go through it here in the live market as well. We will certainly be going through your content, Crash F16, on Thursday. Absolutely. Okay, some really, really good stuff in here. Okay, so guys, if you want to if you want us to maybe take a look at some of your content, it's going to be a focus on the Market Pulse tools. Okay, we want to come up with user case scenarios on how to use this tool. Right, so these are all new for me as well. So that's why I'm covering them and going through all these user case scenarios in here. All right, so let's add it in and go through it. Oh, yeah, and let me show you something, Rob. So we can look at sweeps and absorption. In fact, we'll look at the first Market Pulse tool with the absorption indicator. Now, I noted that you actually had the sweeps one on there. This is what I recommend you do, Rob. It is exactly what I'm going to do here. So first, you need to download and install and I've got the links here for you guys. Okay, so you need to download and install the latest indicators of sweeps and absorption. Okay, so I'll put this into the chat for you. It's part 1. Okay, part 2. And then part 3. Okay, and this is all for the Bookmap Academy members or applicants. All right, you might need to install the latest build as well of Bookmap. All right, so first thing, well, let's add the absorption here. Okay, so selected. I've downloaded it. I've added it using the add button here. Then I've added it here, selected it, and then in here you can see that if I come in here and show the icon and show the volume in here, okay, because I really made the setting very, very low here, so I'm going to get a lot of output here, right? And now look at my chart, right? It's becoming like, you know, unreadable. Okay, so you don't have to show all these things. We just want the data here. You do need to have the absorption indicator added on here first. Okay, now once you've got it added on, we don't see it on the chart here, but we know it's working. Next thing, we'll go in here and let's turn on the Market Pulse and let's add absorption pressure right here. I've got it already from the drop down. We'll add both absorption pressure and then absorption pressure imbalance. Okay, so it looks good. Let's press play. Okay, this one's actually absorption pressure imbalance. We can also look at absorption pressure. Oops. Shoot, I always do this. I got to create a new one. And absorption pressure. All right. All right, so let's cover this one here. Okay, again, this is based off of the absorption indicator. Now, this is important here, and this is one of the beauties of this Market Pulse add-on. is using what we call broadcast API, which means that it is first taking the data that we can filter using the absorption indicator. So if I come in here and I change my settings here on the absorption indicator, it will affect market pulse or absorption. Right? This is a really great tool. So it's an indicator based off of another indicator. Right? So you can really filter in here. The same is for TraderMap Pro and others. So you know, we've this is kind of a new, well, we've been doing it for a bit, but to you know, clearly explain this in here, what we're doing is broadcasting the data from one indicator into another here. So you can filter both of them, okay? But the parent is the absorption indicator here first, and then the child is the market pulse indicator. Okay, so anyway, now what we're going to look for is where we get outputs here. Using this in the subchart is excellent. Right, so first we'll look at the absorption. See, we're getting absorption right now. Okay, and you can also see the imbalance here. This is only one line here. This one for absorption pressure is showing us 2 lines. Okay, so in the subchart, I'm just showing this one here now, absorption pressure. So it's 2 lines. All right, so what has happened in here? Well, we had absorption and on the bid, all right here. Okay, now we already kind of know this just because we have the heat map. Okay, we don't, the absorption indicator is kind of showing us something that well, actually it's not true. Okay, it's showing us something that we don't have data to. We are 1 tick away from this very high liquidity here at 43.60, right here. And we see a lot of absorption. Now, how did that happen in here? How can there be massive absorption in here? And it didn't even trade into an area of high liquidity. Okay, there's got to be an iceberg in here. Okay, if I look that up, here it is here. The stops and icebergs captures all of that as well. Okay, or the iceberg indicator does. Right, so this is where this, first off, this is where you can get value out of the absorption indicator in general, is by noticing certain areas where it didn't even trade into high liquidity and yet it's being absorbed. How is it possible? Right, either it's a very, very high liquidity that was in there very, very short period and then traded, or it's an iceberg. Okay, it's probably one or the other. Now in stocks, it could also be a dark pool. You'll see it in stocks, like the dark pool transaction will happen off, you know, the off exchange, but the transaction is communicated and broadcast. All right. So anyway, we had high absorption in here, down at this level here, right before that liquidity. It's an iceberg. We're getting this output here, and we got some pretty good output. Okay, well, now we're just looking for buyers to start to come in, right? So look at these areas in here, and you can start to develop and back test a strategy. Okay, we have a stop, probably a stop run here too, right? Yeah, we have a stop run here right before the absorption of high liquidity, and then we're getting our buyers starting to come in here. Well, we're looking for a move back into the range then. Okay, so probably back up to about here, and we might get a second leg now. Okay, and this would be, again, your flag pattern. Strong move. Now, how strong is it? It's not bad. In this relative volume in here, that's the key. Relative volume, it's not bad. Okay, so what about the pullback? Okay, is it on low volume? Yeah, it is. All right, so now, do we have bidding up here? Not really. Okay. We're still looking for this flag pattern to unfold up into 69 or 70 here. Okay, but we don't have all the pieces in here. Okay, we have some liquidity in here that got filled, but we want to see that bidding up underneath here, right? And we're looking for that flag pattern to complete. Okay, so again, like this is the flag pattern. It just didn't have all the elements that we're looking for something that is higher probability, right? So, you know, this is where you just have to do your studying and your back testing. Okay, now we're putting that together with a new confluence of using this market pulse tool for absorption, right? So now let's go through an idea in here. We'll take stops and icebergs off the chart, and we'll start to look for this as we back test it just manually here. Where did we get other output? Okay, high absorption. Okay, high absorption down here. That's not bad. Bottom of the range, right? We're looking for hold on. Yeah, bottom of the range in here. We're looking for maybe buyers to come in and try to reach back up to at least here, maybe top of the range. Okay, well, that one didn't work out, right? We even see the buyers come in here, right up underneath here, and then this didn't pan out. So this would be a stop out here on that one. Okay. Now, but we can still filter for it here. We had absorption. Do we have high liquidity in here? Actually, we start to have some high liquidity in here. Actually, looks pretty good. Okay. So they don't all work out, but start to look at where they did as you back test and start to look for something that can give you higher probability. Okay, because this one worked out really nicely in here. Okay, and it's up here. Now, we just didn't have all the pieces in here, right? We didn't have that bidding up at a higher level in here. Anyway, now we're getting absorption here on the sell side. In YouTube, you guys can hear this, but in Discord, you cannot. Okay? And you can see, here's our absorption, right? All right, now this is most likely, again, another iceberg, right? Has to be. Doesn't have to be, but is likely. And there it is. Here's our iceberg right into here, absorbing before the high liquidity. See how these markets work. Bookmap's uncovering that for us here. Okay, so now do we have sellers come in at the top of this range in here? Looking for them. Okay, nothing yet. Still more buyers. Buyers going to probably reach up to the 72. Okay, and let's see if we get more absorption up there. And sellers bring it right back down. So nothing shaking yet. All right, let's continue on and kind of back test this in here. All right, so yeah, we went through this one. We had another small one in here, and we had a really good one here. Okay, below the range. Now, see how you can start to mark these up with your market structure, okay, and your liquidity and your transactions in here. This is slowdowns. You know, a good example of the spring. Okay? Maybe even up here is a spring as well. Okay? We just didn't get the output here from market pulse on absorption. No, I'm sorry, we did right here, right here. All right. So let's continue to look at it here. Okay, this one we get absorption on both sides here. So this is kind of a battleground in here, which is giving us some information as well. This one up here as well. So a lot of back and forth in here. Okay, we're looking for that kind of clean and clear absorption. Like this one here, you know, we have a spike down on the cell absorption, but so it's a bit of a battleground. But the clean one, or the clean reading, is up here. We see the buying absorption. Okay, so we can see it started in here. Clearly, it's in here, and then it continued on lower here. Right, so seller is just more selling pressure basically after absorption. Okay, so not too good of a back testing outcome there. Right, so I don't know, how can you filter some of these things out? We'll start to look at maybe the volume dots in here, and we had high liquidity, which is good. They're bidding it up even in this area here, which is good. There's just more selling pressure. Okay, and they came back down to the next level of high liquidity. It would have been great if we got an absorption reading down here. Didn't. Okay, a little bit here, and it kind of back and forth. Okay, this is again back and forth in here, but that would be expected in here, right? This is 10 o'clock. So we would anticipate there to be like readings on both sides in here. Right, so anyway, that's a way to kind of look back at some of these areas in here, back testing. Okay, now we have, that's the absorption pressure indicator, which is two different outcomes. We can also look at one line and just look at the imbalance, which might be simpler. Okay, so it's just one line, it's buy minus sell, so it's going to be kind of like your cumulative volume delta or something. And then look at just one line and then start to match these up. Okay, this one looks great. Top of the range, absorption on the sell side. We know it's an iceberg as well, and we had the pullback here. Okay, down to the bottom of this little range here. Okay, buyers coming back in, more buying pressure. Okay, well, let's see if we get another absorption reading and we get sellers come in. Okay, about let's see, this one here did slow down a little bit, but nothing big. This one here, beauty, that's just a beauty. This one here did not work out. That kind of leads to an understanding in here, like it should have. I would anticipate it. I don't see a lot of high liquidity in here though. That's one thing. And the other thing is, like, this is a smaller range in here. Okay, the bigger range is here, and that's where it went. So we got one here, one output on absorption here. We got another output on absorption in here. Okay, so that's an interesting one. We're at the bottom of the range now. This one didn't work out, and this one worked out beautifully. Okay, so this is something to study and look at. Maybe you don't want to take it at a swing in the middle of a range. You're looking for it at the end of a bigger range. Okay, in fact, if you see one at the swing of a bigger range or a smaller range and it fails, look to the next one and really look for it to work out then. Okay, so these are some of the rules in the back testing that you can start to create for yourself, or at least filter for yourself, and then offers a really nice I don't know, filter or element to study to put back into your trading. All right, so anyway, you guys get the idea. But this is how to kind of think through your back testing in here, and try to come up with some rules for what you're doing, what you're trading, and your way of trading. Okay, so anyway, a lot of considerations here, and that's the absorption indicator. Okay, let's actually close that one. We add the next one in here. So let's see what's actually going on in here. Yeah, boy, I wouldn't look. I'm kind of wondering if this is like the impulse move in here, and it really isn't. It's looking kind of strong in here, but this is the sellers in here are really strong too. So it just looks like more range bound chop to me. All right, let me see any questions. Yeah, RJ, our Market Pulse works great on stocks. No problem there at all. As long as you have data for stocks. Yes, that's true. Thanks, slow down. Okay, yeah, you want to look at the Mag 7, sure, in VPI. Well, let me show you. It takes a little while to load this. But I'll show you what it's so cool. I'm really glad we added this feature in here in Market Pulse. There's a multiple algos that this will work for. We'll actually add it here for absorption pressure, for example. Right, so we'll go with absorption pressure here, and then yeah, right, it won't, I mean, it will work for it, to be honest. I just need to add it to all my stocks. All right, so I won't do it for absorption pressure, but you can see I have the capability to. I just need to add the indicator to all of my other instruments, and I'm not going to take you guys through that. Just understand it works for absorption. And it also works for sweeps in here. Note that I have all of these instruments here that I can select for sweeps, absorption, as well as, I think, is price change also? No. Support and resistance. It works for support and resistance as well. Okay, so note how I can add multiple in here. Okay, this is a great feature. Right, so now what you can do is you can make a synthetic instrument out of your market pulse, and this is awesome. Let's just take a look here at Apple. All right, so we're looking at the S&P E-mini, but we know that Apple makes up, I don't know what percentages of the S&P, but it's huge. We also know there's another one, Microsoft. Okay, another one would be Amazon. Google, Tesla, Facebook. Just here again, these are really simple ideas, and and they've been known for a long time. Here's a heat map of from FinViz, okay, on the entire S&P 500. Well, who are the big players in here? Well, that's easy. Oh God, they have so many ads in here. Well, it's easy. Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Google, Amazon, Tesla, Meta. All right. Well, we can just stop with maybe these two here. These are by far the biggest. Apple being the biggest. All right. So let's make a synthetic instrument out of it with support and resistance and volume pressure. Okay. So here we go. There's support and resistance, and let's also add a new one in here. We're going to look at volume pressure, and we're going to use Apple and Microsoft as well, and hit play. Okay, and then I'm also going to add one more in here. I'm going to put in volume pressure also for the S&P E-mini, which I already have down here. So I just need to hit play. All right. Here we go. Okay. So I have two. Oh, already getting an output. Hold on a minute. All right, so we're getting some output already here. It's crossing the thresholds, and let's get it. Let's get into the details here. Okay, so S&P and this synthetic instrument, we're seeing a lot of buying coming in here. Well, join into the momentum. Look for the top of the range to be tested here, right? That's what we'd be looking for. Now, if you have that insight here, it's not just the S&P. If it was just the S&P and you didn't get that with Microsoft and Apple, well then be attentive. But if you're getting it on both or all three in here, then this is telling you something. Okay, now we're getting a bit of a pullback, and we're looking for the continuation. Okay, that was a lot of strong buying. We're looking for a bit of a breather, and now we're looking for the strong buying again in the S&P. but we first want to hear it here in Apple and Microsoft. Okay, and then we're looking for it to trade right up into here. Okay, so this would be very, very bullish pattern, flag pattern in here. Strong move. We know that we had this extra confluence in here. Okay, now we're looking for the buying to come back in and trade it back up here. Right. So now let's just go through the pattern in here. What else do we have? Okay, we're at the bottom of this little range in here. That's good. Are they bidding up in here? No, they're not. Right? Is it a low volume pullback? Yes, it is. Okay, here's a strong move. And then our pullback on lower volume in here, smaller red dots. We're looking for them to bid up. We're looking for those buyers to come in. Okay, and then we're looking for the move back up to top of the range, and then want the flag pattern to complete here, back up into the 72, 73. All right, so again, we're missing this piece in here. Now we're kind of getting it. To be honest, like we don't see them bidding up underneath here. Okay, but we do have kind of an exhaustion here on that sell side. Okay, so that counts. We're looking for a lack of selling in here, and we're looking for those buyers to come back in again. All right, so that counts. And then again, here's more exhaustion on that sell side. Now we're just looking for the buyers to come in. We do have a little bit of liquidity in front of us here that we need to chew through. Okay, but looking for it. See if we can hit into that. That would be maybe your entry into that market, and then look for the move back up. Right. Okay, so not high probability. Not good that this guy is here. Let's see if we trade into and through it though. Okay, looking good. All right, buyers, let's see you take it back up. Not just to 70, looking for 72. $72, $73, something like that. And let's look at, so we heard the Apple and Microsoft come in. Let's also look at this one here, this one, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here just for kicks. Right, so you can do that. Make it a little bit bigger and just look at more details in here. So now we're looking for this one's kind of complex. It looks like it's the same as volume pressure, but it's not. It is. It says SR here, which is support and resistance, right? So it is, the output here is showing sellers that are adding on the. Let me go through it here. There's more to it in this one here. So the number one is that there is a training period of sliding 5 minutes of data. There is a half-life period. These two are in all of the other Market Pulse add-ons as well. This is a new one in here. The half-life period of price intervals. What does this mean? It means that it is calculating the order book with a half-life. So the first 4 ticks are more important. The next 4 ticks after that are going to be half as important as those first 4. Right? And then the next 4 after that are going to be half as important as those previous ones. That is the way it works. Right? So that's how you can play around with these sliders in here to find out what works for you. But that's what it's reading in here. And then let's also go through the output. See how this is a negative value in here on the sellers, and this was a it just changed. Now it's positive and it's a bright red. Okay, that means they're adding on the offer if it's a positive number. If they're going to pull liquidity on the offer, this would be a negative number and it will be dark red. The same for the buyers in here. It's negative right now, is dark green. So that means they're pulling, according to this calculation, on the bid. Okay, we don't want that actually, right? We want the opposite. We want to see this flip here. We want to see this become bright green and a positive number, and we want to see this become dark red and a negative number. And we want to hear our volume pressure come in. This is another filter for you. Okay, it's, you know, so this idea in here didn't play out, right? We're looking for it somewhere around in here and then taking it on up. Okay, well, this one wouldn't have worked out, right? But we're still looking for it here. Okay, now this is where it gets a little dicey too, but it's looking pretty good to me. Like it looks like we're going to trade up into here, like our original plan. The reason that you can kind of filter for these in here, and why or how you can filter for it is like mentioned in the video from the Learning Center in the strategies. Hold on a minute. Is we're looking for a shallow pullback. That shows that this move is, the first impulse move is strong. Okay, we don't want, if this is actually a little more than half of our range in here. Okay, see how our midpoint of that square is, or this range in here is somewhere around in here. So it actually went below the 50% mark. So what that means is that there's more, we can see it, there's more sellers starting to come in. Right, we're looking for leaning on the behavior of these players in here, these buyers in here, as being strong. Okay, a pullback that comes back more than 50% is not as strong. Right, and it's also on high volume on this pullback in here. Okay, so we have some things in here now that turn this trade idea over here. It looked pretty good. It was meeting those criteria, except for bidding up in here. We had exhaustion though, and that's why it looked pretty good. Yeah, and now it looks like it's going to play out. Okay, we can hear, look at they're pulling, adding on the bid, and look at Microsoft and Apple. Okay, looking for the S&P to follow suit here in just a second, and we'll get that move back up into like 73 or so, 72. Okay, again, Apple and Microsoft hitting. They're buying. S&P is just kind of going back and forth in here. Huh, interesting. All right, so now we see the Apple and Microsoft hitting the bid here. All right. Well, that trade idea didn't work out either. Now let's take a look at it. All right, so this is how, like, you know, we want to see this play out in real time, especially in these webinars. But look at this in here, and look how this looks actually really good in here. Right, we didn't have a few pieces, and we're relying maybe too much on this confluence in here. I thought because of the strong buying in Apple and Microsoft, along with the S&P, that we finally get that move, and we'd see a shallow pullback and a continuation here, right? But look how convoluted it got. Now it's still looking like it wants to work out here. Okay, and we should get a pretty sharp move here at this point in a stop run to up into the 72, 73 area. This pattern that we're looking for is no longer true. Right now, okay, let's go back and review a little bit what happened, and why did this become like not as good? Well, all right, very simply, first off, do we have consolidation period? No. Okay, we just had a strong move here, which was pretty decent in this small time frame, but we don't have sellers upside down. Maybe some of these guys in here, maybe, and then the stop run up into here. We can verify that, but yeah, not much of a stop run up there. And then what else do we have? Well, we have the volume. It's pretty consistent. That's good for us. We got that going for us in here on this move in here. Okay, and they did buy all the way through on up. Okay, now we did have a low volume pullback in here. We just didn't see them bidding up in here, but we did have exhaustion. And then we did see buyers come in here. Now this was kind of a bit of a red flag in here. Was this liquidity here? Hey, we didn't like that. I thought because of the strong move in that correlation in here, that we would probably go through it and trade on up into these areas. It didn't happen, right? So I'm not going to lean on this correlation here as strongly. Okay, this correlation is what got me into this trade idea. Even though I know that it didn't have the proper fuel here in the consolidation area. All right, so we can still look for this to maybe play out, but I'm not going to put a lot of risk on this trade idea. In fact, maybe I shouldn't have taken it at all. All right, so but I wanted to show this the correlations in here, because this can be something you can add in as long as you have these other elements within the setup. All right, and it should be even higher probability. And then we still kind of thought that, well, maybe this is the pullback, but it's more than 50% now. Okay, and but it can still work out. And this flag pattern in here is getting kind of more complex now. It's not looking quite as good anymore, and we know that this is not a low volume pullback anymore either. Okay, so now we have like 3 different things that are going against us in here, and then we do see the buyers come back in again, and they try, and we keep getting pullbacks in here within this range, and then we see the buyers come in here. Now, do we have a consolidation period in here? Yeah, kind of, but this is a little bit different. Consolidation is now this, right? So we're not looking for a flag pattern here anymore. We're actually looking for a impulse move here, number 1. Okay, so that would be your strong impulse move now, and we're looking to see if we get basically a breakout trade here. It's not a flag pattern, that's a breakout trade now. All right, and let's see, Apple and Microsoft still picking up. They're still buying the 2 biggest large caps. Okay, they're pulling. Are they pulling on the offer? There's not much on the offer. They're adding on the bid. Okay, in Market Pulse. Okay, so this is a very different setup. This would be a breakout at this point, is what we're looking for here. Now, I don't see them bidding up underneath here. I'm staying away, but I like the idea. I'm looking for it. I'm looking for these guys to maybe start pulling their liquidity for a potential breakout trade. And I'm looking for a flip of the order book in here as well. Okay, but the entry in here is horrible, right? And still looking for it to work here, but I'm not putting risk on it. Okay, well, they're adding liquidity in here. We're getting a few sellers. Yeah, so the trade idea is here, but the order flow is not quite here. It's just the pieces aren't all here. All right, so stay away from it. And then look for something that's higher probability. All right, so let's see. We demoed the absorption pressure and imbalance. We also looked at support and resistance. And we also looked at volume pressure within our flag patterns or continuation patterns. And here's our breakout trade starting to work out. But yeah, I just don't like it. In fact, here's our volume pressure and the ES here. Okay, now this could be a trap here, and the sellers can come in and really drive it right back down to middle of the range in here, which first swing is here, but the next one is yeah, this high volume node here, somewhere around in here. Is looking for the sellers to try to drive it back down there. Okay, beautiful move right down to it. And then let's see if they can continue here. Looks like it. Everything's selling off here. Interesting. It's showing selling off, and we see this really quick spike back up. All right. Any questions? And there's your bounce off of it here. Off of that high volume node or middle of the range in here. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you can see. Thank you, you tulips. The read in here, I mean, like we didn't see a setup in here. We're originally thinking breakout, right? And then we stayed away from it. We just didn't have all the pieces in here. And then we can get a breakdown, which we did get. Okay, and I'm kind of surprised. I'm not surprised to see it come back down into the middle of the range here. That's not a surprise at all. For all of a sudden it to bounce off of that, though, it was kind of surprising. I thought we'd probably come down to the bottom of this range, and then maybe we'd get something like this here. But it came down to the middle of the range, and we're seeing the buyers come in. Okay, so as we start to filter our trades and our setups in here, we can avoid all of this, right? And all this chop. We're looking for something very specific, and that's it. If it's not specific, then you stay away. Okay. And that's your setup. Okay, it's something you've studied. Now we went back and went through the process of reading through this. What went wrong? Why didn't this work out? Well, we knew that we didn't have all the pieces. In fact, it was alluring in here because of this volume pressure with Apple and Microsoft. It's like, okay, I guess the markets are ready to go. Well, that was a confluence. But our setup really wasn't quite here. Okay, and it ended up doing what we're looking for anyway. But you had to go through all of this in here, and it's just really choppy. And you can avoid all of that. All right, so look for your specific setup, and it has to meet that criteria. Right. So in fact, I'm going to tempt you guys with something in here, something really cool that the developers put together for me. I will release. It's not ready for release yet, but we have this new setups checklist. It's going to be renamed as well. It's going to be called setups checklist. Okay, all of those setups that we had for the flag are in here. You can check them off as you go through. Not only can you check them off, you can grade them. Okay, give it a score of 1 to 10. Okay, how did this look? How did that look? If we went through the checklist here, we would have stayed out of this trade. Identify trap traders. Number 1, did we have that? It was very low, like a 2. This little area down here, a 1 or a 2. Okay, develop scenarios. Did we come up? Do we see a possible move up into high liquidity or target? And you know, a strong move, pullback, strong move, and we can target some of these areas in here. Yeah, I guess, but not too good. I don't think those scenarios are very strong either. So let's give it a 4. Large price movement. It's not that great. It's okay. Okay, but we had the correlation here, right? So we didn't even have that, you know, large price movement, or I'm sorry, large price movement for the range or that time frame wasn't bad. We can give that an 8. Okay, for that small time frame only though. Relative volume, it wasn't that great. It was okay. We can give it a 6. Absorption, high liquidity in these areas in here, we didn't have that either. I mean, you can see, like, if you go through the process in here, we would have stayed away from this idea. Okay, minor retracement, no, we definitely didn't have that. We did here at this point. That was good. And that didn't work out. Okay, and then it went more than 50%, not good. Okay, low volume pullback. Nope, this was actually high volume in here, right in this area here. So now you can see that as we start to assess our setup in here, right? It's a very simple add-on in here. You guys will get access to this. I'm still kind of working on it with the developers. And low volume, no, we didn't have that. Okay. Liquidity bidding higher, no, we didn't have that either. This is looking horrible, in fact, if we went through the grading process in here. We would have stayed away from this idea. Okay, this is a great way to filter your trades, right? Large price movement on the second move in here. Let's see, started to pick up in here, started to look kind of good, but it didn't. Yeah, this actually looks pretty good right in here. But we didn't get a follow through until it just chopped around in here a bunch more. Okay, and then strong relative volume again. Nope, none of that in here. We did get it finally up in here when it broke out. An absorption of high liquidity on the other side in here. Okay, now look at the average score. Okay, we're looking at a total score and we're looking at the average score, and we want an 8 or higher. We have a 4.5 basically. This is not what we're looking for. Stay away. All right. All right. Well, anyway, the links again are here in the Learning Center. If you go to, if you want to watch this and you can download, we have the a download in there right now. That's an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, I can show that to you. So go to the More button, go to the Learning Center, and then Strategies and Setups here. It's under Flag Pattern Resources here, and you can see the checklist here. Basically, it's in Excel, and someone's looking at it right now. However, you don't need to you won't even need to look at this any longer. We have it in an add-on. Okay, so that'll be helpful for you. All right. All right, so yeah, we went through. Let's just recap here, and then we'll wrap up. So wrap it up here. Started off with a flag pattern, very easily identifying that, and very, very strong move. It's a different version of it due to the fundamental non-farm release here. Okay. And identifying that strong move in here and how important it is to identify that strong move. And you're just looking for the pullback and another strong move. And then we started to go through the higher time frame here for the last few days, and understanding on higher time frames that we had bullish days, and we had extended candles, and we're looking for the same thing to continue. This would be a swing trade in here. The same ideas, though, are behind it in momentum and these strong moves, right? And these are trades that you hold for a few days. You're looking for the move back up into, well, this would be the first area I would look. And we just came shy of that yesterday. And then today, it's kind of coming up and maybe trying to chop or trade through this area of consolidation up here. If we do, well, how big of a move are we looking for in here, right? Not that big, right? We're not looking for that much more of a move in here is what I'm trying to say. And here's why. Okay, we have this move here, the day, and if we kind of duplicate that in here, we look for maybe up into here, right? Up into these wicks up in here. Well, maybe we'll get that, right? We got to chop through or chew through the high volume node in here, right? So this is a good area to look for maybe this to slow down a little bit. Okay, we had really strong volume and strong good numbers in here, but you know, now we're going to look at the order flow in here. But we're looking at this another potential range or extended range day today. Up into here. All right. So now, what are we going to look for in the order flow? We're going to look for these strong moves to unfold again. Okay, and we're going to look for really strong buying volume in here, and we're not seeing it here. Okay, we had another data point in here, which was the services PMI. And look at that strong volume on the sell side come in here. All right, so maybe this is it for the day. Maybe we chop around in this whole area up in here. All right, so going through these are going through scenarios in here of our expectations. All right, so we went through that on the higher time frame and started to understand like some very simple swing trade ideas. And then we looked at, came back in here and looked at our flag pattern or momentum moves covering market pulse. And we went through a variety of the different add-ons in here. Now, if you want free access to these add-ons, you can get it. You need to sign up for the, like I said, it's kind of a benefit that you get from this academy. Sign up for the academy. It's here. And I'll put this link into the chat for you guys. And then there, you scroll down, you can read through it. What are the steps? What do you get? What do you do? One of the things you get here is access to pre-release new products and add-ons like this Market Pulse. Okay, so we're happy to give that to you. If you sign up, then go to Discord and also request your spreadsheet and start creating content. We will have next week on Thursday, at the end of the day, we'll have our trade review, our Bookmap coaching and mentoring webinar. Okay, this will be our third one. This is the new thing that we're doing in here. Right, so yeah, come to that. Get your access to your market pulse, start creating content. The content that we're going to go over in that session is going to be on Market Pulse. And Slowdown has created some. Crash F16 has created many. So we're certainly going to go over his stuff. All right. And Rob, looks like you had a few in there as well. So we'll go over those. All right. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming. Have a great weekend, everybody. And we will catch up with you next week. All right. And we'll looking forward to the Thursday coaching and mentoring trade review. All right. Okay. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.